This episode of 6'5 Guys is brought to you by Defiance Machine, defying tradition with innovation. Our Bros Rifles, precision on another level. JC Steel Targets, the industry leader in quality AR 500 steel targets.
Hi, welcome to 6'5 Guys. I'm Ed Mobley.
And I'm Steve Lawrence.
And today we have with us our special guest, Scott Satterlee of Core Shooting Solutions. And Scott, you're putting on a training out here, a two-day training class out at Rock Lake, just south of Spokane, Washington. So we appreciate you taking some time to be with us today.
Absolutely.
Now, this course that's taking place over this weekend, tell us a little bit about the shooting level and typically what you cover.
Okay. I like to call them clinics, not just training, because what I like to do is, we're going to cover the basics. We're going to cover shooting positions. We're going to cover, how to get a really functional zero. We're bringing 15 shooters together. We're bringing 4 of the top shooters in the Northwest together. And that's the big difference between Core and a lot of other places is that if you look at the instructor resume for everybody that's affiliated with Core as an instructor, I mean, you pretty much know who they all are just by name. Terry Cross, Dustin Morris, Francis Kuehl, Ryan Castle, Brian Morgan, Brian Sykes, Josh Mann. I mean, that's kind of that's why we called it Core.
Yeah.
Fair to say they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But you mentioned a lot of things, dot drills and verifying your dope, your trajectory, and so forth. And so let's look at that from the aspect of a beginning shooter. A beginning shooter might say, well, isn't that a little advanced? Why should I go there? But there are a lot of things you can spend money on as a new shooter. Why is it important to focus on training?
I think training is probably going to be your biggest money saver. I was fortunate that all my intro training was done by the military. Thank you, taxpayers. But again, when I started shooting the precision rifle world, it was a lot different than going to sniper school, and I had to actually unlearn some stuff. And the $550 or $650 that you're going to spend on training will be some of the best money you spend once you start down the road of precision rifle. I mean, and you guys started on down the road with me, and we're still down that road. We still talk about stuff. I mean, and that's one of those things that it's not just the training that you get, it's also the network that you're developing of guys that you can go to and talk to about, precision rifle shooting. So, in my honest opinion, it's probably the best money you're going to spend. You're going to save twice that just in ammo trying to figure it out on your own.
Yep. Spend a little to save a lot.
To save a lot.
Like. Okay, that's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Now, for new guys that are looking at training and they're thinking, gosh, I don't know, I only have sort of my budget Remington 700 or Savage rifle. I know I'm interested in the sport, but I'm not sure if I have what it takes to actually come out and take a course. Like, what is it that folks need to bring to the course like this in terms of gear, level of knowledge and experience, and so on?
What I ask for guys when they're coming to one of my clinics is a rifle that shoots minute of angle or better, 200 rounds of ammunition, and a scope that you can dial. That's it. That's all we need. And again, it's one of those things that you can get. You got your budget rifle, you got your ammunition, you got everything you need to start sending rounds at distance. The one thing that's really going to help you out is having somebody coach you. And that's the other thing is, coaching on position, coaching on, when to do what and how is going to get you down the road a lot faster than if you were trying to figure it out on your own. A lot of guys, even intermediate shooters that come to one of my clinics, always take away something like, man, I didn't even think about it that way. It might be kind of a hard pill to swallow of spending $550 for a 2-day clinic or $650, but what you're going to take away is going to be 10 times that value. You're going to save that money just in ammo trying to figure it out on your own. And if they show up with a 1 MOA rifle and a scope that you can dial, that's all they need.
Okay. About how many rounds?
We usually go through about 150 to 200 rounds at one of our clinics.
And you spoke earlier about the caliber of the instructors. I mean, top 20 instructors. I mean, let's talk about some of the folks you're going to have with you this weekend.
Right. This weekend, and I try to keep my clinics at 1 instructor to 4 students. I mean, that's kind of where I pride myself on. I'm not going to shortchange the students by having one guy running my suck and then having 12 guys on the ground trying to, talk to all 12 guys at a time. So we break them into little 4-man squads. We got 1 instructor per 4 guys, and we put out the material, and then I have a guy coaching them. And the guys that I have coaching this clinic, I've got Jeremy Bentham, who's one of the best shooters in the nation, perhaps on the planet. I got Kevin Ditto, who's also one of the best shooters in the Northwest. Myself, Doug Glorfield, who owns the property, and then of course you guys. If you guys see something that is out of whack, you guys will probably step in. I know how you are. So, and that's the big difference, I think. Again, with the core and the way I like to run a clinic is I'm not gonna. I'll spend the extra money. I'll pay these guys to come out and spend their time with me and with these guys because it's just a better product.
Yeah. Now, I know you're new, as well as a number of the other top shooters that are affiliated with Core, formerly with PTS, and you had your own company with Brian. Tell us a little about kind of the transition of how you guys were brought in by Brian and where you guys actually host clinics and whatnot throughout the country.
Right. So Brian Sykes, who's a really good friend of mine, he's in 7th Special Forces Group. He's getting ready to get out as well. And Brian Morgan came to me and Ryan Castle, and they say, hey, we want you guys to fall under Core. And well, I love Brian. I love Brian Morgan and Brian Sykes. So I was like, heck yeah, that's a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. And then he told me about some of the guys that are coming in as guest instructors, and at that point, it's like, absolutely,
it's an all-star lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, I can speak about the training we took back in December of 2013, and there's a relationship that's formed, right? So it's not just the weekend. There's that continuing.
I mean, what we text each other and message each other probably once a week.
Exactly. So I think Scott's probably getting more out of the relationship than he expected with my questions. No. But talk about that. I mean, talk about the importance of that.
And again, I think I covered it earlier, but it really comes down to a network. It's not a huge population of guys that actually want to come out here and abuse themselves in this kind of wind, and what our hit percentage is 70-75%, and you're doing good. So it takes a unique kind of person to want to come out and do precision rifle to begin with. So by coming out here and taking a clinic and meeting you guys, and then these guys are going to meet you guys, it turns into a network. And that network is, and as you know, you guys have seen, you took my first class and the material's changed since then.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
And that's that evolution of being a shooter, being an instructor, competing and getting out and meeting folks, is that you have all these other ideas.
Folks, so next we're going to take a look at some of the footage from the training, and then we'll also talk to some of the instructors. So take a look.
So I'm with Kevin Ditto. He was one of the assistant instructors for this training clinic. Kevin, tell us a little bit about what you helped out with today.
Well, I helped Scott work with the newer shooters on the basic fundamentals, rifle setup, position building, how to get a zero, do dot drills. The basic fundamentals was what we really worked on day one. All the way from how to set your scope on your rifle, torque the rings, up to getting velocity and data gathering at distance.
What's in store for day 2?
Day 2, we're going to run people through some scenarios. Kind of like a mini match prep day, run through different stages, different barricades, stuff like that. Teach them how to use those proper fundamentals that we showed them in the prone position and apply those to compromised positions, staircases, rock formations, barrels, stuff like that.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Not a problem.
Hi, I'm here with Jeremy Bentham. Jeremy, in today's training session, what are some of the things that you focused on with the students?
The biggest thing for me is fundamentals. If without that, I mean, really, anything else we do past that is pretty much null and void. You want to make sure that your body position is good on the gun, your recoil management is good, and you're understanding where your shots are going and why. If you're high and left, if you're canting behind the gun, I mean, there's all those things. So I think first and foremost, the fundamentals would be the biggest thing, and second to that would be data going out. You got to know where your gun's going, so you can take this information anywhere and make hits with it.
And looking at your students, it looks like there was quite a good cross-section of students and equipment. Maybe you can elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, we see everything from, in doing this class, people who have hunting backgrounds to people who want to go straight into the PRS and are looking for a nice entry into that. We kind of get a whole gamut. So it makes the first day a little bit slower than usual because we have to bring everyone up to at least a level playing field. And then once we do, day 2 becomes a lot more fun, and we can kind of direct students towards whatever aspects they're interested in. If people are taking this class because they want to go out and shoot an elk at 800 yards, then I want them to be able to leave here and do that. Or if they want to go shoot in the PRS, they can take this information and have a good first match instead of a train wreck.
Perfect, Jeremy. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for being here.
Welcome back, guys. Scott, we have a few other questions we wanted to ask. Tell us a little bit more about where some of the clinics are hosted throughout the country and the core facilities.
The primary facility for Core is Core Shooting Center in Baker, Florida. But we also do a mobile training team. We have guys in the West Coast, Francis Kuehl, myself. We also have guys in Central, Ryan Castle, and Louisiana with Dustin Morris and Terry Cross. So we can travel to you. If you have a range and you want to learn how to shoot precision rifle, we can come to you.
I think you hear a lot of these clubs that are just starting up because this is still a new game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, I mean, that would be perfect to really up everybody's game at a particular club. I mean,
absolutely.
Now, obviously, a beginner course is going to be a little bit different where you're teaching the fundamentals of marksmanship, perhaps some positional stuff. As folks are interested in advancing their skill set, let's say I want to go into competition, what would a course like that look like if you're having a clinic to sharpen up skill sets so folks can actually compete?
Okay, so a competition-focused clinic would look a lot like what we're going to do. We're going to focus in on the basic mechanics, and we're going to do some dot drills in the morning, breaking our position, shooting strings, etc., etc. And that's more of an assessment tool for me. Mm-hmm. That way I can see who we need to focus on, as far as the basic fundamentals, and then I can take the other guys that already have the basic fundamentals mastered, and what we're going to do is we're going to progress them. Now we're going to progress the clinic at the same rate. It's just we're going to focus a little bit more on some of the basics with the guys that need it.
Okay.
So if I hear you right, in this particular type of course like we're having this weekend, somebody from a beginning to intermediate, maybe even advanced intermediate, can benefit from the same instruction?
Absolutely. I would say really what makes the difference between a new shooter and an intermediate shooter and an advanced shooter is mastery of the basics. Right, so I can go to a basic course given by Brian Morgan, and I'm going to learn something.
Absolutely,
even in a basic course. Yeah. And when we start talking about advanced stuff, we're talking about high-angle loophole junk like that, which for hunting application maybe, for a sniper application absolutely, but for a match application not so much.
Yeah.
So those might be separate. So for the really advanced stuff, that might be carved out separately, but For most shooters, the venue would cover it from all skill
Absolutely.
levels.
I would say
is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, 99% of all shooters would benefit from this clinic.
Okay. So one other question I have that perhaps for the guys that are watching this video, they may have already attended a training course or a clinic, have mastered some of the fundamentals, but they're going to their square range every couple of weeks, right, to get some practice. And what recommendations would you have for them around sharpening their skill set, preparing for the next match? What would a practice session look like?
Practice session, again, like I'll just use me as a practice example. What my practice session would look like would be, depending on how far it would take for me to travel, I'm going to go to and find some place with typically a tricky wind. You know, I like the capital forest area for wind and wind reading, and that's the number one thing that I try to practice on more than anything, is because I hardly ever miss because I'm off target. I miss because of wind. You know, and I would say 99% of most misses are a wind call.
And what do you do when you're at home, when you're not at the range? What's your practice regimen otherwise?
I shoot small bore. That's my practice regimen right there. I shoot small bore every week. And what I've been focusing on that seems to really be helping me is I'm spending a little more time focusing on where I want the bullet to go instead of where my reticle is. You know, I know and I'm aware of where my reticle is, but I focus in on where I want that bullet to go, especially in a sloppy standing position where, you know, it's like, oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. You know, it's just, it's awful. You know, it's the stupid hard sport. But
Yeah.
that's kind of what I work on. I work on positional stuff. I work on barricades. I work with my tripod, you know, getting to position quick, finding my targets. That's the other thing that's you see guys spend probably 20% of their stage time just finding targets, especially if there's multiple targets.
Well, Scott, really appreciate you taking the time with us this weekend and for inviting us to be here. And also, congratulations on a great PRS season.
Thank you.
Top LE Leo
Yeah.
shooter for PRS, right? I think you made overall 8th. Is that correct?
I finished 8th in the finale.
In the finale?
Top mill. I missed top mill LE shooter by 9/100ths of a point.
Okay.
So I didn't shoot well. I mean, I didn't shoot at all late in the season. I
Yeah.
only shot 5 matches, and you know, 3 of them were good, 2 of them were But you know, I did well in the finale, so I was really happy with that performance.
And again, thanks. I mean, a shooter of your accomplishment and ability, just being so giving and sharing to just about everybody, we really appreciate that, and just wanted to point that out. And again, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to link to it, give us a thumbs up. We also appreciate your comments, so definitely be sure to do that.
Yeah. If you haven't gone to training recently or at all, be sure to take a look at it. Take a very close look at Core Shooting Solutions. They may actually be offering a clinic near you. And also check out our website. We will have a complete write-up, photos, as well as this video there with additional information that won't be part of this video. And remember, life's an adventure.
Stay on target.
Yeah. And can I add?
Yeah.
If there isn't a clinic near you and you want one near you, just
This guy travels. He's got a really nice RD. So.
yeah, I'm going to be
You'll take it
retired.
out.
Yeah, I'm going to be retired, and I don't really need a job, but I do like to work.
Awesome.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. That's right.
All right.
All right, cool.
Take care, guys.